Welcome to Noble Thoughts by Idiots, a show about board games, movies, video games, and practically anything else we care to talk about. I'm your host, Captain Bagels, aka Jared, joined always by my co-host and good friend, Ripper Goose. How you doing, Goose?
Hey, you know, alive.
Good. Good. Still kicking, right? Still kicking too?
For now.
Alright, so today we are going to review Star Wars Battlefront 2 Campaign. We'll also talk about the multiplayer on the side as well. This game was released November 17th, 2017, and we're now in 2020, where the game has actually gotten better from its original release, at least from what I've understood. What have you, overall thoughts, did you enjoy the game as a whole? Like, what the whole package of what they offer in this game?
So, I've had this since release, I believe, or at least a couple days after release, initially. Played it for a while, then stopped, because, games. Never finished the campaign. I got halfway through it, got distracted by other things, and just went back to it this week and completed it. I thought the story wasn't too, intricate, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
I love this. Like, we're just gonna go right into the campaign because that was one of my favorite highlights of this game. I was really impressed with, I guess because I had such, let's say, low expectations. I guess you would say originally, because I didn't buy it back in 2017 because I had heard all the pay-to-win things and that had made me skeptical of buying it. And then I heard that it had done many review updates, which is nice. The trend that video games are continuing to do is that games as a service, and they're continuing to update. The games get better from their original release date, and I believe they've done so with this game.
Yeah, so multiplayer for sure. Obviously campaign, not much. You can't really do too much campaign-wise to keep updating it, unless you're adding more content, which in this case they haven't, as far as I know anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I liked the game initially. It's just there were so many bugs and so many problems with it. None of my close friends have it, so it's just one of those things where I didn't play for too long.
Because so many games came out.
Yeah, exactly. Any more game, it's amazing if games last more than 3 months at this rate. But no, I was pleasantly surprised with the campaign. Overall, like I said, the story wasn't too intricate, but I liked how not every big character, but a lot of the big characters from the universe played a role in the story, and it was kind of, I think it took place between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope, if I believe I'm correct.
No. Actually, you know what? It's possible that they jumped around a couple acts. My understanding, though, it's after Return of the Jedi, or it's in parallel with Return of the Jedi and just before.
Okay.
What's the episode 7, which is
The
Force Awakens. Yeah, and the reason I say that is because, like, obviously you see, that's what I loved about it is, like, first of all, you get introduced to the Inferno Squad, which is pretty cool. Introduction, it's like a special forces group of the Imperials, and they are, I'm not gonna say they're very zealots of the Imperial way, and have been led to believe that the rebel is the bad guys, and they've been doing it all along. But as you can see, and I guess you could say in stereotypical ways that they start out as the bad guys and find out they're working for the wrong side. Mm-hmm. But I still thought it was fun to see them do what they did, which I thought was very well done. I'm trying to look up the actors, actually, right now. Because why don't they have her? Because the lady that played... Where is she? Huh. I guess they don't do it. Okay. Well, But, like, I liked seeing the perspective of Special Forces prior to the Death Star being blown up, and then the cool thing, as you can see, and hey, full spoilers here ahead. Just so you know, this is going to be a full spoiler review. There's nothing held back. And so if you found out that this Death Star blows up in a movie that came out back in the the 80s and stuff, don't hate me. But I thought it was such a cool take when they're on Endor and you're an Inferno Squad and they show that cinematic and they show the Death Star blowing up. And this is kind of like, this made me want to watch the movies again because this actually adds lore and background to the cinematic universe. And I think this is one of the few games that I know of that actually executed being a video game based on the property that added to the universe. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I never thought about it before, but you know how, there's games, books, and when Disney finally bought Star Wars, it was, oh, this is canon and this isn't, blah, blah, blah. I never really considered, canon as anything other than just stuff that's not really Star Wars, but is.
Yeah.
But looking back on that kind of stuff, it's nice to see the way that, the little plot holes and there's little stories that get mixed into the main saga. I completely enjoyed the game. Not to get into the aspect of it, but story-wise, it wasn't too deep, like I said.
Yeah, it didn't have to be super deep. It was lighthearted, but it was enough to be like, I love that it feels entertaining. It fills in the holes though. I love the idea. You know what? The Star Wars universe would have special forces. The only other time I've seen them talk about special forces in the universe, and technically you could say Jedi are special forces in a way. But it's nice to see, from a soldier, a stormtrooper perspective, and seeing that the missions that they would go on, the guns felt different. Even though they're all laser rifles, they actually felt different. You got your, I would use a gun that almost felt like a saw, that would be good for heavy round, putting out a lot of fire, and then you could use the secondary fire, which was kind of like a grenade launcher. Perspective. I played the game on hard just for fun, because but it was never too challenging. It was just right. It wasn't didn't feel cheap.
Yeah, I mean, game wise, it felt like they did it just as something to throw in there because the first game definitely didn't have a campaign, so it didn't feel like an add-on, but it didn't feel like that was the main focus of the game. Obviously, Battlefront, main focus of the game is always multiplayer. So it was nice to have a single-player campaign, but it was that good on a game that's known for mainly multiplayer. My equivalent to it, not as good as Call of Duty, Modern Warfare that just came out this year, but
I mean, it's not gonna. I mean, there's a difference in, but campaign-wise, but there's definitely a difference in I'd say budget of what they were going to put towards the campaign. I mean, they have a budget.
You're talking about EA and Disney. They have unlimited money.
Yeah, true. But and it was nice. Okay, so I actually wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this Inferno Squad, and I liked the characters. The main lady that is in there was very. I thought she was now she's actually a notable hero. I like how they introduce her in that she's in custody, and being interrogated, and you find out that she wanted to be captured. She had her drone, unlocking her out, and the thing that blew me away was also the level design, the set, it's out of nothing feels out of place of the Star Wars universe.
Oh, for sure.
Because they got access to all the assets, yes, but a lot of people could get access to the assets but not execute as well as they did. And I actually, it took me a lot longer to beat the game because I was constantly walking around after I did my gunfights, I would kind of walk around and just look because it was faithful and accurate to the Star Wars universe.
Okay, so one thing, I know we brought this up on our Mandalorian review. For the fans, for the true ones, you might remember, but I believe you or I, well, obviously it was you or I, one of us mentioned that it was nice to see the different side of the story almost. So it was like you never see Star Wars from the Empire's story, really. You always see Star Wars based on the Rebels perspective rather. And how in Mandalorian it was nice to see the Rebels being kind of dicks and blowing up that prison ship. Well, in this case, you got to see, the story, the intimate story from the Empire side where, not everyone's cool with it.
They don't see themselves as bad guys, though. I mean,
exactly.
You can see on both sides of, like, it's not black and white, It's not like I'm the bad guy and I like it. It's like they're basically brainwashed on their side to believe that what they're doing, The only thing I thought in the campaign, I was like, well, you can definitely tell they're bad now, especially when your father's like, yeah, we're going to kill our homeworld people. And you're like, and you're just cool with that? It's like, yup, nothing. For the Empire, it's like, well, I can't help you right now. It's like, I thought, moments that stood out were like the big takeaways in the campaign, like I said, was the accuracy and level design, and I love the skyboxes, seeing the Star Destroyers in the distance, showing, the one level, I'm jumping all around here, but like basically there was the one level where they had the Star Destroyers that were loading up with fuel from these giant organic beasts in the sky that produced gas. Yeah. Like I thought that was like, I'd never seen that in the Star Wars universe, like that specific lore detail. But because this is supposed to be canon, that is now added. Now, that may have been in the extended universe or in the books. I've never read the books, just to say. So
you're talking about the level where you're flying the X-wings around it.
Yeah, you're flying the X-wings, and like I thought. I thought that was really well, and like I would just sit there and like I love seeing the red and green laser crossfire across the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Like that was and that was what was like, that really did it for me. Like just made it fun.
Well, I guess this is a good segue then. Let's go and move into the graphics. To me,
top
for
notch.
a 3-year-old game, I give it a 10.
Yeah,
I mean, games that come out today don't even look that good.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. The fact that they all look like there are people that are in that, like you said, games don't even come out today that look as good as that game. So what they did is literally magic with that level of detail.
And the thing is, too, everything. So a lot of the time when games have amazing graphics, it's like pre-rendered backgrounds almost. You know what I mean? But in this case, it's not. Everything's live. Like everything interacts with everything going on. If you're walking through trees or grass, or you shoot through trees or grass, you see everything move the way, as well as it can anyway, with the physics that are provided by video games right now. But I remember hearing that back in the original, because I went back and watched some like original reviews of it, and people were saying that too. Like, obviously, it held up then because it was brand new, but it still holds up today. Like, to me, it's still probably one of the easy top 10, probably one of the top 5 games graphics wise out for console. So
that's why I love, and also I think they made it, like I said, I'm not too familiar with like the books and stuff, but there were some characters in there that I had the one guy in particular was the smartass alien, if you know who I'm talking about, and I can't quite remember his name, but he was the sidekick to Lando Calrissian, where they went to the. Yeah. That was my favorite character. My favorite character of the entire campaign. Like I wanted to hear more of him because, like I'm glad you're alive, and he's like, thanks, man. And he's like, what about me? Kind of like the smartass thing. Like that was why it was so well done, and that's kept me wanting to see what happens in that. So were there any particular standout scenes in the campaign that you really liked?
I mean, pretty much anything involving a forest. To me, it was like, I don't know. Whenever you see tons of trees, grass on the screen,
but executed well, yeah.
Yeah, more often than not, it looks kind of cheap one way or another. I mean, obviously, people are doing as much as they can, as good as they can with the budget they have.
Yeah.
But to me, this is the way games should be going with outdoor environments. I mean, I wasn't too impressed with like the palace level towards the end. I mean, it looked good. Don't get me wrong, it looked amazing. But there's buildings and gravel,
like it was almost plain. Like I wanted to see the forest of Endor, kind of thing. Like and it's so and the vegetation and seeing how well done it is, and like and that I think they set a bar for real world. When you do forest, a lot of times in games, a lot of them don't do a nice.
There's so much to render.
Yeah.
All the leaves, all the blades of grass, and the twigs,
and that's why I was so impressed. I would sit there and literally look at the leaves and go like, "That's amazing! It looks like a leaf." That individual,
that Lando level with the lava,
the at
really good too.
Yeah. That level actually, I was gonna say. So, I think one of my favorite levels of the entire campaign was the at manufacturing site. That was so. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was like that. It was that was probably my favorite one because you had okay. So that smart ass alien I was talking about. It was Shrigrov, and he was the smart ass alien, and he's freaking awesome though. His one-liners, and he was a perfect counter to Lando Calrissian, who, and I'm just looking here with the original voice cast. Is the only actor in the game who was his original voice cast. So Lando Calrissian was played by Billy D. Williams, which was cool.
Well, obviously they weren't going to pay Harrison Ford to do it, but he sounded pretty close.
Yeah, the Han Solo is played by John Armstrong. So like with
Are
by
they like the Clone Wars actors and stuff too, the voice actors.
It's possible. I'm not 100%. I have to look at their IMDb.
Sound like herself either.
Who? Well, Leia? Yeah, Leia was not either. Leia was played by Misty Lee, which is it? And they sound like them, but like
enough to pass,
yeah. These people the Misty Lee who played Princess Organa or Leia. She also worked and did voice work in Mass Effect Andromeda, Halo Wars 2, Resident Evil, and the Maz Kanata, the bartender thing. That's also what was cool. Like, so going back to that at level, I loved the banter between Lando and Shriv because and it seemed like they had worked together for a while. They knew each other. It wasn't like just the first time, and then they were smart ass dude, and they knew they got themselves into these issues many times before. And I also liked when Lando was like, you get to the part in the level where he's basically, he's talking to Shriv, and Shriv's like, so what's your exit strategy? How are you doing this? And he's like,
I don't know.
You filled it with lava? Lava. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I loved about it. And then on top of that, Lando even starts to get caught, like, by the lava. And so initially he's like, hit some buttons. And eventually the button just says, shoot something. And you just, like, that attention to detail. And even if I don't know if you died ever with any one of these characters, but if you died with Lando Calrissian in the gameplay, it said he lost his last gamble. Okay. And then if you died on the Han Solo levels, it says Han Solo wasn't lucky. Like that. Like, it's a small nod to their character as a whole, but it was very, very cool to see.
I didn't die in campaign, but I played it on normal.
Yeah, I played on hard. I didn't die often, but I died enough to see it.
Okay, so alright. So graphics,
I'd say 10, yes.
10
I'd say 10 out of 10 because, just awesome because of it being 3 years old and still doing phenomenal.
So sound, for me, still 10.
Yeah.
I don't know how it could have gotten any better. From the fades, from the sounds of the blasters, from
the wipes, like
the
the screen wipes and stuff. Like, that's what I thought. Like, you do a cinematic and they do the same fade and the same wipe that you would screen wipe. You would see in the movies, and that's where I'm like, this actually made me want to go back and watch some of the movies. You know, like I was like, and I thought, go ahead.
Even the music was they might to me. I think they would have had to have taken it straight from the movies.
It had to be, because like it was the like, it wasn't even the big score music that was like,
No,
I mean
yeah,
the big score. The
subtle music.
The ambient music just going in the background where you have it, like, you know, and I'm like, I just want to sit here. I almost left it on the home screen sometimes, you know, while I was doing things, just because, like, the subtle music would come into play.
But even, so, speaking of menus, even the droid noises you would get sitting in the menu.
Yeah. Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
The droid chatter? Yeah, it was...
So, I thought the Inferno Squad made a, like, you got Eden Verso and Hans and Del Miko, and there was that third guy, which I think was Gideon Husk. But like, you got to be like, you know, he was the third member, and yeah, he was one of the bad guys. That ends up being an Inferno Squad, but I get it. Like, I thought that was an interesting thing. You know, Dale and Eden end up being the good guys of Inferno, and they, like, Gideon ends up being the bad guy, realizing he's not, you know, he just never wanted to die, basically. And I thought, but, so you got to the end where you do the Kylo Ren post scene after you basically beat the main campaign, right?
Yeah, to me that was kind of weird.
I think that sucked for Del. Del just gets unceremoniously killed. Like, seriously?
Yeah. I meant the whole level to me is kind of weird. Like, I didn't understand why the stormtroopers were attacking Kylo and whatnot. It's just,
well, because
like, the whole thing
you realize that was a whole... That was a it was a dream. It was like a representation of him using a Jedi mind trick to crack somebody's mind, and that was,
yeah,
you know, which I get that, but like, I felt bad for Del. Del is like this good guy character. He's with Eden the whole time, and you know, like, they were always good, and then all of a sudden Gideon ends up being alive after, which I think Gideon was the third character of Inferno who turns bad on the squad, and he goes to work for Garrick Versio, her father of the Imperial. Now, the thing, I was like, well, and this had to be, you know, let's say 1978, 88, 98. So it says many decades later, so you're looking at 88, 98, 2008. So you're looking about 30, 40 years later, and Del's there, because obviously you could see that he was like a lot older kind of thing. But I'm like, well, that sucks. At least I'm hoping you got, because they do in the cameo where Kylo Ren is basically interrogating him, says like, you got, or actually I think Gideon is talking to him, saying you got old, you got weak. You know, basically he went to a peaceful life. He became a shipper. He became a father. Now, is that implying that he ended up having a child with Eden? You don't know. They don't really say. But I bet you there's probably DLC coming, to be honest, if not already.
I don't think so. Been out for 3 years. They're not.
Well, they've still got content coming out, man. I actually see
multiplayer.
Yeah, multiplayer. Yeah, Star Wars. Like, there's a Battle of Scarif update, which is coming. It's actually delayed right now, but there is a new content coming from the campaign multiplayer. But I thought it was cool that they brought in Kylo Ren. You got to see that kind of deal. I think it sucks that somehow Gideon lived, you know, after being blown up in the final fight in the original campaign. So, I mean, I felt bad. How did you feel about Del on that? Did you think it sucked for him?
I mean, I didn't have any feelings towards it either way. It was whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to beat the game finally. 3 years after the fact.
I'm curious what... Yeah, so, of all the characters, Shriv was my favorite, because he was the one-liner smartass, which was freaking awesome. And then, I think any other standout scenes in the campaign? You did your audio, did your visuals, 10 out of 10s. I'd imagine, like, must-sees. I thought the campaign was pretty, as a story element goes, I would say it's like a 7 or an 8. Like, it's, it's not, like, phenomenal, but it's nice that it fills in the story.
For this game, it was really good. I mean, if you're looking at it, like, greatest campaign of all time, no, obviously not. But,
Yeah, I think...
It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was so entertaining. That's the thing. Like, I liked, with the Han Solo level was funny when, like I said, when you did get to see the other characters and...
Yeah, to me, like
Maz Kanata.
Some of these people who review games, it's like people who review movies. They give the Oscars to the ones that are, like, the most boring movies in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just like, maybe they're game snobs, I don't know.
We're not super critical. Yeah, exactly. That was
what matters.
Yeah, so, and, I think I was, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to move into the next category, but
go. I was just saying, I was bummed out that they didn't get more of the original actors, to voiceover, but...
I'm not going to pay that much money.
Yeah, I get it. And, there's...
Voice acting's below them, unless it's...
Yeah. Well, it's funny because what is it? The Joker played by Mark Hamill. He did the Arkham games. You know what I mean? But I guess
he would have done it. But
yeah,
that costs a pretty penny.
True.
And depending on schedules and whatnot.
Yeah, true.
Gameplay. I thought it was pretty tight for being a Battlefront game. Usually they're a little wonky sometimes.
Yeah, and there were a couple, and I'm not gonna lie, there were a handful of scenes in the campaign that were like little floaty because I got stuck a couple things. And I mean, but to be expected for a Battlefront game, this is the best Battlefront game there's ever been, and the controls are the tightest they've ever been. Could it be like, it's not like a Call of Duty sharpness kind of deal? No. On the control scheme, but it is definitely, it's decent. It's definitely doable. How do you
feel about the length of each story or mission, rather?
Like, yeah, I felt like they were fine. You know what I mean? Like, I was expecting, what do you think? 6 to 8 hours of campaign, probably, maybe.
Total, yeah. I mean, it was pretty short, but to me, like, each level was perfectly long enough. I hate.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm old and I have a lot of things to do at this point, but I hate campaigns when they have levels that just drag on for
and they did not feel... That's the thing. That's why I liked it so much. It didn't overstay its welcome. They definitely... Each level felt like it moved. Each level felt like it was something new. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I'm hanging out with Han Solo now. Now I'm hanging out with Lando Calrissian and Shriv and all that. Like, that's why I was like... I was always happy to see a different perspective of the Star Wars universe, which makes me feel like, because I don't want it to be the one-man army kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's cool to see, like, you're with, fighting with different people. You could say that, Eden Versio was, like, technically a one-man army, but it's nice that you're, like, with other type, X-Wings and other stormtroopers and other rebels fighting with you or against you.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked the undercover scene where you went on undercover walking and you saw the ATSTs and the ATs going by, and like just seeing all the forces sitting there, and you see all the different aircraft. It's all there, and once again, it comes to the skybox. It's like there's something. It doesn't feel empty. It feels lived in. Yeah, and I thought that was I love looking up at a skybox and seeing a giant Star Destroyer up there, or like any, even the Republic's ships as well. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, the gameplay was tight to me. Would I give it a 10? No.
No, I think probably it's like 7. Yeah, I'd say it's like when it comes to the control scheme, it's not your Call of Duty on the sharpness or Halo. It's a little floaty, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell, too, the story wasn't the main focus of the game.
Yeah, they were, and yeah, that's true.
Which it's not supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Get it.
And the gunplay, like I said, like it was good enough just to get you, because I felt like even on hard mode, it wasn't really hard. Do you know what I mean? It was like, and the AI for the enemies, like, you know, in Halo, the AI is smart. It'll flank you. It'll move around. It'll, like, based on the different difficulty settings, it'll throw a grenade if you're in Legendary, if you're in Heroic, you know, in normal modes, it won't do it. But in this, their AI literally was like, they charge right at you. They don't take cover. Like, did you know? Even in hard mode.
Well, it's kind of the way stormtroopers are supposed to be based on the movies anyway.
Yeah, like, but they would just, literally, it's like you see them, they just start closing the gap. They don't sit back and cover fire. They literally just... They're...
It's like the Empire wins based on
numbers.
Force, not tactics.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was you know, the AI I'm going to put as a mediocre 5 or 6. You know, they're not like...
yeah, I didn't have high hopes for it anyway.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for a Star Wars experience, and you get it. And for 12, it's currently on sale for like $13. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, aside from free, it's friggin', that's a great deal. You get, not only do you get the campaign that makes you, it fills in gaps in the story of the cinematic universe, you know, gives you something, you feel like you're learning something, and you get to relive moments with characters you've seen before in different scenarios, and it's fun, and the banter.
And the fact that they're still updating it 3 years after the fact is amazing. Because I don't think they're developing another one, which to me they don't have to.
Yeah, well,
they're going to develop one for the next, the new consoles.
Yeah, very possible. I mean, EA has a 10-year, and honestly, I think EA is running out of time. Yeah, EA Star Wars deal. Which is crazy, because they've got to be... It's finally proven... Yeah, they made the deal in 2013, and they have a 10-year, only them can use it. And so you're looking at 2023 that comes up. And Star Wars Battlefront 2 has finally rocked, been like, yeah, this is the reason they actually have it. And I heard the new game, the Jedi Fallen Order game, you've been playing that, right?
Yeah, I'm maybe half hour, 45 minutes into it.
But really, is the story good and all? You feeling good on it?
I mean, from what I've played, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, okay. So, like, at least they're doing moves on there. We'll talk about that game another time. But just to talk about it. Now, do you have any other things you want to talk about the campaign, or do you want to move on to the multiplayer?
Alright, so, multiplayer-wise.
Oh, wait, actually, I gotta say this. Remember I said Shriv was my favorite character in this thing? The reason why, one of my favorite one-liners was when Lando and Shriv were stuck on the lava planet manufacturing facility, and he said it, and I actually laughed really good, because Shriv said to Lando, says, "You know what? I may die here, but I take confidence in knowing that you're gonna die too." Like, unless you were... That was literally like, I thought that was such good, that was like great writing. That's why it was so funny.
Yeah, it's almost like all the bounty hunters kind of have this, not sick sense of humor, but they're like self-deprecating, and they know they're assholes. So they, that's the way they see each other, it was nice to see that in the game, for sure.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. So I was like, yeah, that's what he said. It's alright. I definitely butchered that. He says, "If I die here, I'm glad you will too," as he's staring Lando in the face. So, so yeah, Lando's my favorite. But yeah, we can move on to the multiplayer. So, what do you think of the multiplayer?
I mean, this is what? Maybe the 5th Battlefront game? 4th Battlefront game altogether?
It's definitely the best there ever was.
Oh, for sure. nothing new. I mean, gameplay wise, really.
Well, I will.
Mechanics wise, I should say.
Mechanics wise,
No,
but like they have
mechanics.
I'll say they have they have 19 total levels. You can play on Naboo, Starkiller Base, Camino, Takodana, Jakku, Yavin 4, Death Star 2. I mean, I haven't even played on these yet. That's what I'm exact. Yeah, Endor, which we did. Hoth. I haven't even seen Hoth yet in the game, which is kind of Kashyyyk, Tatooine.
We haven't done that.
Yeah, we gotta try these out. We got
Those
Crate, Jakar, Kessel, Geonosis, Bespin, Felucia, Asian Kloss, and the capital ships. You know, when you're in the other game modes they have, which are which is awesome, because I gotta say, like, that's the best way I feel to play, is that the way they do those game modes where you fight on the ground between two opposing teams to see whoever wins, and if you win, you end up getting on carrier troop transports to go and attack, which I thought was supremacy mode, which I thought was freaking awesome, because you get to and here's the other thing. I watched all of the Clone Wars except for the new season that I got to finish up. There's like 6 new episodes or something. But what's really cool is things that have never been in the movies, they have in the supremacy mode and just the game in general. Like those assassin droids that you see that have they'll do a melee attack 1, 2, 3 with a saber of their own. Those were in the Clone Wars and they were awesome. They had, and they have the different types of drones and their vehicles that they show in the Clone Wars on a lot of times. It's done so well. That's why I was very happy about it.
To me, I like how they have the Celebration Edition, because it almost seems like they're never going to come out with another one. They're just going to keep updating this one, which is fine. Perfectly fine. As long as they move it on to the next console. But they're going to have to come up with a new one to play with the new horsepower and the new functions that the console has. But gameplay-wise, your standard Battlefront feels good. They do have new mechanics with the cards, which I forgot. You can upgrade the cards and switch them out based on your class. And there's different specialists besides the heroes and villains. And
I like those specialists that they buffer each other. Like I like playing the heavy because it's kind of like a mobile medic. I always like being a combat medic, and if you put that on, you heal your teammates and help them reduce on damage, and as well as yourself. Because it's small details like that I like. Both teams basically have the same abilities regardless of side. It's just a different skin for the most part. There may be slight differences in abilities, such as your major hero or villain. And even the hero or villain doesn't feel too OP.
Jedi do feel overpowered.
But if you have an ATSD, like I got 30 kills the other day on an ATSD partly because there was so much distance in between. Even when the Jedi would try and charge forward at you, you could just blast the ground, and they couldn't get. You know what I mean? Like you could definitely do.
That's an exception. I mean, if you're in a vehicle, then they're fine.
But I like that.
Normal.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Like if you're just a stormtrooper and you see Kylo in your face, you're like, well, I'm dead. There's not much you can do. The best thing you could do is back up and try and group up with other people to take them down. That's what I think is your best move.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. It's very hard, which I guess the way it should be.
Well, I mean, I guess the strategy that I've seen is like, you run. You run and you group up with heavies. You know what I mean? Like, if you get like 2 or 3 heavies with chain guns, and a hero attempts to come at you, they can't, which is nice. I like that, but like you have to. But they are like you also. It's that like double-edged sword. You don't want them to be so weak that they just die automatically. You want them to be significant, but you don't want them to be too OP. And I feel like they kind of have danced that decently well. Now, if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, it's a pain in the ass because they know when to back off and know when to flank around.
Right.
This is true, but definitely true. I like they've got in the different game modes like Supremacy. Really like I wanted to give co-op mode a chance. With Yoda has it now, our buddy, but like that we can actually play 3-player. Like I don't know if you caught that the other day when he was saying, but he was saying he'd get into that. And then you got Galactic Assault, which is kind of like that seems like more the standard Battlefield style with the maps, Conquest. And you got Heroes and Villains, which it's fun to try once to see all the abilities, but I prefer Supremacy and Galactic Assault. But the standout that I thought was actually fun was an Ewok Hunt. I thought that was awesome.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up. So that, by far, is my favorite mode, I think, because Supremacy, I like it. It can last a really long time, so unless you got time to actually play a lot, don't play it.
Yeah, that was the only thing. If you don't make
the games will go on for like an hour, which is fine if you got the time.
Yeah, they're not like small controlled. The Ewok Hunt is a small controlled thing. You're talking 20 minutes maybe max on a good match, and a lot shorter than that in 10 minutes if everybody
the mechanics on that. It's like what the hell do they call that in Halo? Is that zombies in Halo?
Infected, yeah.
Infected,
okay, yeah.
Infection, yeah.
Yeah, infection.
So that kind of thing, you start off as stormtroopers. One person, I believe, is an Ewok.
Yeah, and
tries to kill as many stormtroopers, to.
And as you get killed, yeah, and you know what though? I love it's the night mission. You don't really see night missions, and that beautiful artwork with the fire and the flashlights of the stormtroopers going through the woods. Yeah,
creepy.
And the audio and but it looks beautiful at the same time. It's like beautiful death, I'd say, because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna die, but it's really cool to see. It's a game where, games give you a flashlight, but you don't really need to use it. Do you know what I mean? This game in this mode, it's like no, you need to see that. You need that flashlight, or you're not gonna see crap. Kind of thing. It's a little cat and mouse game where you're really trying to turn the light off, turn it on, just kind of get an idea what you're looking at. It's very cool.
To me, that was a complete surprise. A surprise game mode, I guess, for the multiplayer. Because that wasn't there originally.
Is that what it was? That's what I was curious about. I felt like that was just a new mode. And that's
I don't know when it came out, but
it wasn't day one.
No.
And that's the type of stuff I want to see them do. Add night levels. How cool would it be to have a night level? Everybody has their flashlights on. You have these giant battles of red and green lasers shooting back and forth. You see dropships come in with their own lights, kind of scattering, offering. Mm-hmm. I think that would be cool, and I feel like they could do that. And they're still adding DLC, like I said. They have there was another Battle of Scarif update, but it was delayed. But so towards the end of the month, we should see that new kind of. So we bought this game. I just bought this game this month, and the game's over 3 years old, and yet they're still bringing out new content. I think that's amazing. That's awesome. And it's free. It's not costing you anything.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, since I would say they recovered from the whole loot box debacle.
That's why I was finally okay with doing it. I watched another review online say that the new content is there. And so I am very happy with the multiplayer and very happy with the campaign. I mean, do you have any more you'd like to say?
No, I mean, I don't know what else we can say. I would definitely, to me, this is a buy.
Yes,
especially
definitely a buy.
At current prices.
Yeah. Oh, it's a steal.
Now, I don't know if that was just a short-term sale or what's going to happen with that, but...
Well, looking at it now, it still looks live, as far as I can tell, and maybe they'll continue to do it. I mean, it's normally $24, so currently $12. So that's a pretty good deal. I would look into it, but do you want to sign us off?
Sure. Well, thank you for listening to Noble Thoughts by Idiot's review of Star Wars Battlefront 2 2020. Thank you for listening. Please listen again. We'll talk to you soon.